Welcome back. Today we're looking at something quite extraordinary. Picture this. The year is 524 AD. The Western Roman Empire, well, it's a memory.
And in a prison cell, awaiting execution, sits one of the era's sharpest minds, Boethius, accused of treason against the ruler he served.
It's just an incredibly dramatic setup. And what does he do? He doesn't write a desperate plea or a political tract. He writes philosophy. And specifically, this very short, incredibly potent poem we're calling Boethius's Prayer.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Because it's not really about despair, despite the circumstances. It feels more like an urgent demand for understanding, for clarity.
Right, an intellectual invocation almost. So our mission in this deep dive is to really unpack the layers in just these few lines.
Exactly, because this little poem, it serves as a kind of lyrical summary of his whole life's work, his search for wisdom. It captures that core idea he wrestled with, how reason and faith work together.
How they combine, maybe, as the soul's path to divine truth.
Precisely. It's a bridge.
Okay, so let's start with the obvious, the stark contrast, the imprisonment paradox. He's facing death, injustice, everything falling apart externally.
Total chaos.
Yeah.
He was a high-ranking official, deeply respected, fluent in Greek, translating Plato, Aristotle. I mean, real intellectual giant.
And it all leads to this, a dungeon cell.
Yeah. And yet, that's the moment he chooses to focus his mind on divine order, on eternity. It gives the poem such incredible weight.
He opens by asking the Almighty Father to, what's the line? Grant us on reason's wing to soar aloft to heaven's exalted height.
Reason's wing. That's the key phrase there.
So reason is the vehicle. But
Right.
hang on, if it's reason doing the soaring, that sounds very Greek, very Platonic, right? The mind ascending through its own power.
It definitely draws heavily on that Platonic idea, yes. For Boethius, reason is our highest faculty. It's a divine spark in us, capable of lifting the soul above the messy, changing world.
The mutable world, as you called it before we started.
Exactly. The world of politics, fortune, misfortune, the stuff he's currently trapped by. Reason allows us to glimpse the eternal forms, the unchanging truths beyond that.
But is that enough when you're facing execution? Does that pure reason hold up?
Well, that's where the synthesis comes in. Notice he doesn't say, I will soar on reason's wing. He asks for it to be granted.
Ah, okay. So it's not just self-powered flight.
No, it's a plea. That request to the Almighty Father brings in the Christian dimension. It suggests dependence on divine grace. Reason builds the wing, maybe, but God has to grant the flight.
So it's acknowledging a limit to human intellect.
Absolutely. It's saying, my best tool, my reason, needs your help to reach the ultimate truth. It's an act of dependence, not arrogance, which is crucial for understanding his mindset.
Okay, so reason gets you airborne with help. Where is he trying to fly to? He asks specifically to see the fount of good.
The fount of good, that's his term for the ultimate divine source, the origin of all reality, all order, all perfection. Everything that exists flows from this source and participates in its goodness.
But we lose sight of it.
We do. We get distracted by, well, the immediate, the temporary,
Yeah.
the things that seem important right up until the moment they vanish.
Which leads perfectly into that imagery of abstraction he uses. He asks God to disperse the heavy mists of earth. What exactly are those mists?
They're precisely those distractions. Earthly desires, fears, ambitions, the pursuit of fortune, all the things that cloud the soul's vision and prevent it from seeing that fount of good clearly.
So clearing the mists is like cleaning the lens of the soul, preparing it.
Yes, it's a necessary step, a kind of intellectual and spiritual purification. You need to clear away illusion before you can perceive reality.
And the reality he wants to perceive isn't just abstract knowledge. He asks to see the true light and fix our steadfast eyes in vision clear. That sounds like more than just understanding. It sounds like stability.
It is stability. It's attaining that perfect intellectual clarity and spiritual illumination where knowing and devotion become one. Think about his situation, total instability. He's seeking the opposite, the unchanging true light.
And again, he emphasizes dependence. He asks for that light to shine in thy own splendor. It's not something his own intellect can generate.
Exactly. Human reason is powerful, but it's finite. It needs divine illumination, God's own splendor, to grasp the highest truths. This links back to that idea of providence.
Right, providence, the belief that everything, even suffering, fits into a larger divine plan.
Precisely. For Boethius, his imprisonment, his impending death, it couldn't be just random cruelty. It had to be part of a pattern, a divine order, even if that pattern was too vast for his immediate human perspective to grasp fully.
So seeing by God's splendor is seeing that larger pattern, understanding how his suffering fits.
That's the hope.
Yeah.
It's the only way suffering becomes meaningful rather than just brutal. And this quest for vision flows directly into the emotional payoff of the poem.
Which is?
Peace, serenity. He describes God as the true serenity and perfect rest of every pious soul.
Now, rest for a man in chains, that's not about physical comfort, is it?
Not at all.
Yeah.
This is where you see that stoic influence finding inner peace, despite outer turmoil. But it's filtered through his Christian faith. The serenity is internal.
How so?
It's the peace that comes from aligning your own reason and will with that eternal providential order he's trying to glimpse. Knowing God, understanding that divine plan, is the ultimate virtue and the source of unshakable rest.
It's an inner alignment, regardless of the chaos outside.
Exactly. And this whole intellectual and spiritual journey culminates in that incredibly dense final line. I mean, it's one of the most profound statements, maybe in early medieval thought.
When the guide, the traveler, the pathway, and the goal. Wow, let's unpack that a bit.
It's the ultimate expression of unity. He's saying God isn't just the destination you're striving for the goal. God is also the guide leading you.
The pathway itself, the means of the journey.
And even the traveler, in a sense, accompanying the soul on its journey. It collapses all separation.
So the seeking and the sought are fundamentally connected at every single moment, the beginning, the middle, the end. It's all held within the divine.
Yes. It resolves all the complexity, all the multiplicity of the world back into this single, perfect, divine reality. For someone facing death, imagine the comfort in that idea, an unbreakable circle of meaning.
It's an astonishing intellectual feat, performed under extreme duress, and this ability to synthesize Greek philosophy, particularly Plato, with Christian theology, that's really his lasting legacy, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the huge historical significance. Boethius stands as this crucial bridge between classical antiquity and the Middle Ages.
How so? What did he actually do beyond writing this poem and his famous Consolation of Philosophy?
Well, his grand project, before his troubles began, was immense. He intended to translate all of Plato and all of Aristotle from Greek into Latin.
All of them.
Not
ambitious.
Hugely ambitious. He didn't complete it, obviously, but what he did translate and comment on preserve vital works of Greek logic and philosophy that might otherwise have been completely lost in the West during the subsequent centuries of turmoil.
So he was like a curator saving these foundational texts.
He was. But he did more than just translate. He shaped how people thought about knowledge for 1,000 years. He essentially laid out the curriculum for medieval education.
Ow!
He defined and popularized the structure of the classical liberal arts. He solidified the division between the trivium,
Grammar, rhetoric, logic.
right, the arts of language and reasoning, and the quadrivium.
Arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. The mathematical arts.
Exactly. Those categories, trivium, quadrivium, which he established and wrote textbooks for, became the standard framework for all higher education throughout the Middle Ages.
Wait, so the very structure of the medieval university stems directly from Boethius?
In large part, yes. His classifications, his definitions, his textbooks, they became foundational. He basically taught the Middle Ages how to organize knowledge and how to approach learning systematically.
That's incredible.
And because he grounded this structure in the importance of logic and reason, largely thanks to his work on Aristotle, he ensured that reason remained a central tool in theology. He paved the way for later scholastic thinkers like Anselm, Aquinas.
Who famously integrated Aristotelian logic with Christian doctrine.
Exactly. Boethius built the intellectual bridge they walked across, all stemming from work done, much of it, while under house arrest or in prison.
The sheer influence is staggering, and the poem itself, written in that darkest moment, it just radiates this intellectual courage.
It really does. It's a testament, isn't it? That wisdom isn't forged in comfort, but in adversity. The calm, contemplative tone he achieves when facing such injustice. It shows the power of the mind to reframe reality.
To turn towards the eternal even when the temporal is crumbling.
And in doing so, finding a way to transform suffering into contemplation by understanding it potentially as part of that providential pattern.
So let's bring this home. What's the core takeaway here for you listening now? Boethius, facing the worst temporal misfortunes, chains, false accusations, death, found a kind of profound peace.
He found it by shifting his perspective, by striving to see his situation not as meaningless chaos, but as part of a larger, divinely ordered pattern, even if he couldn't see the whole picture.
It really highlights the power of that intellectual positioning, doesn't it?
Immensely. And that final line holds a key insight. If you can truly embrace that conviction Boethius reached, that your ultimate destination, your goal, is also intrinsically present as your guide in your pathway right now.
Then how does that change things?
Well, how does that change how you navigate your own difficulties, your own uncertainties or sufferings, if the end is somehow already present in the journey?
It reframes struggle, doesn't it? It potentially turns anxiety or despair into a more contemplative, perhaps even hopeful, process of seeking understanding.
Precisely. It prompts you to ask, what is my fount of good? What is the true light or clarity I'm seeking?
And what are the heavy mists of Earth, the distractions or illusions that might be clouding my own vision right now?
That's the enduring challenge Boethius leaves us with. A question posed from a prison cell nearly 1,500 years ago, still echoing today.